Howdy, I'm Bob Terry, and up next is a fast, action-packed, almost a half hour of Western fun, and it's called Buffalo Bill Jr. There's no one quicker on the draw or quicker to defend the law than Buffalo Bill Jr., and it's all brought to you free here on the web by Wild West Toys. You can shop with Wild West Toys at www.toyguntown.com. We'll see you after the show.
Buffalo Bill Jr. Buffalo Bill Jr. Buffalo Bill Jr. with his little sister, Calamity. Buffalo Bill Jr. brings you exciting action, thrills, and fun with Judge Ben Fair and Square, Wiley. Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill Jr.
In all its stampede and fury, the land run opened new frontiers for the pioneers of the early West. For many years after the Homestead Act of 1862, there were lots of these runs, or stampedes, as some called them. Behind each one of them was a story, and one of the most exciting is a story dealing with the Pawnee Stampede.
Calamity.
Excuse me, Mr. Copeland, but I've got to get to the judge in a hurry.
What's the rush? You must have pretty exciting news.
You bet I have. The land commissioner's coming on today's stage. Best news we've had in a long time. Hey, Judge, he's coming. He's coming on today's stage.
Calamity, can't you see I'm holding court? Now, as I was saying, Charlie.
But, Judge.
Calamity, the judge said he was busy. Now you mind.
But, Bill, this message.
All right, young lady. What's so all-fired important about that message?
It just came over the telegraph. The land commissioner is actually coming to Wileyville.
What's that?
Say she's right, Judge. That's what it says.
Well, why in tarnation didn't you say so? The case of Mrs. O'Neill versus Charlie is dismissed. Now, the court will pay for the missing apples in question. There's your money.
I'd say you temper justice with mercy, Judge.
Well, to tell you the truth, Reverend, I've borrowed some of Mrs. O'Neill's apples out of her orchard myself, and the best doggone apples in the county. Now, let me see that message. It's kind of hard to believe he's coming after all our fighting and hoping.
And praying, Judge. The Reverend Jeff's been mighty anxious about this, too.
Yes, we've been waiting a long time for the government to open up that Pawnee Strip for homesteading.
And it'll sure bring a lot of business to Wileyville and to the store.
Yeah, I know, but we better not build our hopes up too high. The message just promises that he's going to take care of our request. He still has to make a decision, you know. Say, how about you two riding out and meeting the stage? A little buttering up won't hurt matters none, you know.
We're on our way.
Land commissioner's going to get a reception he don't expect, Vic.
Yeah, we ought to make quite a welcoming committee.
There's no helping him, Bill.
The land commissioner.
Can't you trail those men who shot him, Bill?
Oh, it's no use, Calamity. They've gone into Pawnee territory, and that's federal land.
You mean those killers are safe there?
As long as they stay in the boundaries of the Pawnee Strip, our law's got no jurisdiction. That's one of the reasons the judge wants it open for homestead. It's becoming a haven for every outlaw in these parts.
Gosh, with the land commissioner dead, the Pawnee Strip will never be opened.
That's just what whoever shot him thinks. But I'll tell you something.
What's that?
They're wrong.
Hi, boss. Oh, Vic. Stan. How did it go?
Just like you planned.
Good. I've just been telling Chief Whitebird here I'm going to take real good care of him and his people. Make sure nobody runs them off the land.
As long as we pay in many skins.
That's right, Chief, as long as you pay. If you don't, I'll have to let the Great White Father open up the Pawnee Strip for homestead. That'll drive you and your people right off. It's your choice. You make it.
We pay. What happens when the chief finds out about the head rights?
Is he gonna find out? I'm the Indian agent here. All he knows about government policy is what I tell him. I'm sure not gonna tell him the government's willing to give 160 acres to each member of that tribe if the Pawnee Strip is open for homestead. No, sir. I'm sure not gonna tell him that.
Well, I guess this just about stops everything, Reverend. A man gets tired of fighting after a while.
A lot of people are counting on us, Judge Wiley. We must increase our efforts to open the Pawnee Strip.
You're not going to give up now, are you, Judge?
How can you fight something you can't even see? Oh, if I could get my hands on those killers. Just get them in my gun sights.
That would mean only more violence, Judge. It isn't the way to win this fight.
Well, what can we do?
Reason and logic and faith still win battles. We've got to take our problem to the people.
Preaching is fine, Reverend, in your church. Now, look, I've been sitting on that bench a lot of years, and I've had to use logic and reason and faith. But sometimes you got to fight fire with fire.
Well, perhaps you're right, Judge. But right or wrong, my help will have to come in a different way.
I ain't meaning to go against you, Reverend.
I know you're not, Judge. But I've had a dream for a long time, owning a piece of that Pawnee land myself, to build a new church. But if I have to fight by the devil's methods, I want no part of it.
I think we got the devil beat this time, Reverend Jeff. The answer's right here in this briefcase.
Where'd you get that?
Well, it's land commissioners. After we finished making out the coroner's report, I went through his papers.
What are they, Bill?
Well, it's written authorization for the judge to circulate a petition.
Petition?
Mm-hmm. If the judge can get 2,000 bona fide signatures on a petition, the request to open the Pawnee Strip will be granted.
Oh, then we can go ahead with it.
I don't see why not, Judge.
Then all we got to do... 2,000? Why, there ain't that many people in this area. Unless you count the horses and the jackrabbits.
We'll get those signatures, even if we have to contact every person in the county.
Oh. Well, how? We can't get all them people together.
Look, I've got a printing press at the church. We'll outline everything on a circular, a convincing sales talk, print them up, and distribute them throughout the county.
Say, that's fine, Reverend.
Come on, Calamity. You too, Bill. We've got a lot of work to do.
Reverend, you know something? I'm beginning to think you got something. And darned if I don't think we can do it.
I know we can, Judge. We've got a dream to sell.
Yeah. All we got to do is find 2,000 buyers. The next few days were busy ones for all of us. While the Reverend and I thought up what to say, Bill and Calamity loaded up the supplies we need for our campaign. That is, Bill and Calamity tried to load up the supplies. By the following day, we had close to 1,000 circulars printed up. But the big job still lay ahead of us, distributing the printed word to every living soul in the territory. Bill and Calamity started circulating the news in town, handing out papers to all the town folks and tacking up word of the petition in all the conspicuous places.
They're flooding the town with those things.
I don't know how Copeland expects us to stop them.
Now, we can start by getting rid of some of those circulars.
How's it going?
Oh, just swell, Reverend. We're putting these up all over town.
Good work.
Bill, look.
Hey, leave those alone. What do you think you're doing?
What does it look like, Sonny? We're just removing some of this trash from the streets. Trying to keep our fair city clean.
Well, maybe it'd be a lot cleaner if somebody'd remove you two.
You gonna try to do it, kid? Easy, Bill. This can be settled without a fight.
Preacher's right, Sonny. We just don't like what you're trying to do.
Are you against our project, gentlemen? That's the general idea, Reverend. We like things the way they are. We don't want any homesteaders coming around. Destroying these circulars isn't very fair. You have a right to disagree with our ideas, but destroying someone else's property...
Save it, Preacher. We ain't much interested in what you think.
Hey!
Sorry, Sonny, I didn't see those.
Maybe you'll see this better. Bill, stop! Oh, I'm sorry, Reverend. But I gotta defend myself. Nice going, sis. Let's get these two Jaspers back over to the judge.
You're not mad at us, are you, Reverend Jeff? But we just couldn't let those men do what they were doing.
I don't approve of what you just did, Calamity. But I must admit you did it up in fine style.
The two men were mighty unhappy when I found them guilty of disturbing the peace and destroying our circulars, but the fines I imposed on them was just about enough to pay for all our printing supplies. Bill seemed to think they were tied up with the killing of the land commissioner, but there wasn't much we could do about proving it at the time. That evening, with Bill, Calamity, and the Reverend out distributing, I worked alone at getting out more circulars. Unfortunately, I had unexpected visitors.
What do you want? Take it easy, Pop, and you'll get hurt. You can't do this. You'll pay the penalty for this. Stay up for your choice, Pop. Destruction of property and violation of assault.
Yeah, maybe that'll slow you down for a while. Did you get a good look at them, Judge?
No, I didn't, Bill. They had masks on. But I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they weren't the same two fellas you tangled with in town.
We'll get them, Judge. And when we do, there won't be enough money in the state of Texas to keep them out of jail.
But what about the petition? Now we'll never be able to reach all the people.
We'll reach them, honey. We'll tell them direct. We'll tell the folks to spread the word.
Yes, why not? You could all be sort of deputy preachers, huh?
Sure. And you can bet we'll preach the fanciest sermon you ever heard, Reverend Jeff.
Our saddles were our pulpits. We talked and the people listened. Most agreed to pass the word along, knowing that opening the strip would help the whole territory. A lot of miles were traveled those next few days, with both vocal cords and backsides getting a good workout. But the results were gratifying. Before the week was out, just about everyone in the territory had signed a petition asking the government to open up the Pawnee Strip. Thank you, Charlie. Much obliged to you.
Is that all of them, Reverend?
I think so. What's the total now, Bill?
Well, with Charlie's, it's 1,999.
Oh.
Are you sure you counted it right?
No mistake. We need one more signature.
Well, good gracious. I thought every living soul had already signed this thing. Now, let me see. Great jumping prairie dogs. What is it, Judge?
It's me. I forgot to sign the blame thing myself. I just got so plumb busy, I guess I just overlooked it. Ben Wiley. There we are. Number 2,000.
We did it! We did it! No one can stop us now. Can they, Judge?
No, sirree. We'll get this petition off right away. And from here on, it's just a question of time.
And there's no use stopping it, boss. The Pawnee Strip's gonna be open for sure.
All right, but it's going to be a while yet. We can still make it pay off.
How? As an Indian agent, you're not eligible to stake a claim.
That's right. But when the run does come, we'll bring some of the boys over from Boulder City. Now, mind you, we can't stop the homesteaders, but we can sure delay them long enough for our boys to get the best land.
What about Chief Whitebird? What are you gonna tell him?
Well, I'll just have to convince him there's still a chance to stop the rush. Then I'll have to keep him convinced until the day it starts.
It was just 2 months to the day after the petition was sent off that we got official word telling us the Pawnee Strip was being thrown open. People from all over the Southwest started pouring into Wileyville, filling our little town to most overflowing. And finally, the great day came. The rush was less than an hour away when we headed out of town. Me, Bill, and Calamity were just going along to watch the fun, but I think we were as excited as those like the Reverend who were really going to make the run. The months of hoping and waiting were behind us now. But though we didn't know it at the time, there was still plenty of trouble ahead.
When the stampede starts, you don't follow the straight line. You take the long way to Pawnee Valley and stake out the best claims.
Are you sure they'll have enough time?
Yeah. We're gonna make time with this dynamite. Everybody else will be taking the short way to the valley through Thunder Canyon. Only when they get to Thunder Canyon, there won't be any way through. Stan, you and Vic will stay with me. You three boys get going. I want you on the starting line when that cannon goes off. Give me a hand with this stuff. We'll get it outside.
Agent Copeland is a liar.
Whitebird.
Boss, he heard you.
Stan, you're getting too smart. What do you want, Chief?
You promised land not be taken from my people. You lie all time.
That's right, Chief. I knew all along the government was going to give a quarter section apiece to your people. But it wouldn't have been very good business for me to tell you about it, now would it?
You cheat Indians. And now you cheat own white brothers.
You know, for a redskin, you catch on real fast.
You killed many with your plan to make an explosion at Thunder Canyon. Chief Whitebird not let you do this.
Have to get rid of him later. Now go on.
Soldiers were in charge of starting the land rush to see that everyone got a fair start. But some people on the line didn't mean to play fair.
I sure hope everything goes all right, Judge.
Oh, stop worrying, Calamity. Nothing's gonna go wrong. Nothing at all.
Get the horses back out of the way and take cover. I'll be right with you.
Whitebird. What happened to you, Chief?
Much trouble come from Agent Copeland. You must ride fast, young Bill, to Thunder Canyon.
What's Copeland up to?
Him Dynamite Canyon. Have 2 other men with him.
There goes the 1-minute signal.
There'll be many killed if Copeland and his 2 men carry out their plan. We'll have to stop them, Bill.
We? You riding with me?
Yes.
But what about the church site, Reverend Jeff?
I'm afraid that'll have to wait, Calamity. Some extreme circumstances have come up at Thunder Canyon.
Better get in the wagon, Chief.
There's no rule that says how far a man has to go over the line, so I'm staking out this claim for the Reverend's church.
Well, sir, Bill and Reverend Jeff had to do some mighty fancy riding out distance that stampede. Following their orders, Copeland's men veered off to take the long way around Thunder Canyon.
They made it, Reverend. They made it through the canyon. Thunder Canyon almost lived up to its name, didn't it?
It certainly did.
And for a peaceful man, you sure pack a lot of thunder in your fist.
Well, for the first and last time, I hope.
Hey, what made you decide to ride with me back up there at the starting line?
Well, when Chief Whitebird told us that there were 3 of them here to dynamite the canyon, I didn't like the odds. I decided to even them up.
Well, there's still only 2 of us here.
No, Bill. There's you and me and the good Lord.
Buffalo Bill Jr. Now with his horse and with his gun, he's not afraid of anyone, 'cause no one's quicker on the draw or quicker to defend the law. Buffalo Bill Jr., Buffalo Bill Jr. He's the son of a gun. Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill Jr.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Buffalo Bill Jr., starring Dick Jones. And, you know, if you're looking for American-made Western toy cap guns, there's only one place to get them, and that's at Wild West Toys. You can shop with Wild West Toys online at www.toyguntown.com. And we just hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope to see you again on down the trail. Thanks for watching.
Hey, my name is Dick Jones, and I'm here at the Memphis Film Festival. I'm going to invite you to come back next year and see all my friends.
Howdy, I'm Bob Terry of Wild West Toys. And let's talk a little bit about Dick Jones, the man you're fixing to see in another episode of Buffalo Bill Jr. I've got to sit down and visit with Dick Jones some, and I've known him for several years. I don't know him real well. I've seen him at festivals and things, and I've got to visit with him. He's a wonderful, wonderful person to visit with. Dick Jones is fantastic. If you are ever where you can go see Dick Jones at a festival, which he goes to some of the Western festivals now and then, you need to go by and see him. He's a wonderful person, and he loves
home for classic television Western weekends, and for Range Rider and Buffalo Bill Jr.
Books of the Old West, the stagecoach and freight lines occupy some of the most exciting chapters, telling of the pioneers who had to fight and sometimes die for their belief in the future and progress of transportation. This is the story of one of those fights.
What you fellas trying to do, spook up my horses?
After all the ghost runs they've been on, Jeff, seems like they're already spooky.
Yeah, what you hauling, a load of air from Silver Hill?
You fellas go ahead and laugh.
No, we ain't laughing, Jess. We're kind of smiling out loud. You and that ghost wagon.
Come on, let's see if it can really move.
You all right, Mr. Sunday?
I guess I'll live. Did you stop the wagon, Bill?
Yes, sir. But how did it happen?
Oh, Dawson Stage. Those consarn fools spooked my wagon team.
On purpose, Jess?
Sure, Ben. Just 'cause I happen to be doing something that most folks consider crazy.
You mean like making those empty freight runs, Mr. Sunday?
That's right, but I'll show 'em when I'm back in real business again hauling silver ore, I'll bet you.
Stage is coming in now.
Sure enough, there they come. I'm gonna give those chicken-livered coyotes a piece of my mind. You just walk through. Oh! Hey, do you
you know that you just about got me killed?
We were just having some fun.
Fun, eh? Well, suppose I poke you in the nose and see what kind of fun you call that.
You got no sense of humor, Jess. And driving that old wagon back and forth to that old ghost town all the time is plumb crazy.
I'll leave him alone, mister.
Silver Hill ain't going to be a ghost town forever. It's going to boom again just as soon as they reopen the mine.
You've been saying that for 2 years now, Jess.
And it's true, Dawson, whether you and your boys believe it or not. Why, there's a man out there in the mine right now, and he'll strike a vein. You just wait and see.
Sure, Jess. All right, boys, unload the stage.
Hey, just a minute here. I got an apology coming.
Go on, beat it, Jess. We got work to do.
Hold on, mister. There's no call for that. Why don't you try pushing me around instead?
Whatever you say, kid. All right, hold it, you fellas.
You better tell your hired men to leave Mr. Sunday alone, Dawson.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Mr. Sunday. You better go over to the judge and be attended to.
I don't get it, Mr. Sunday. Nobody'd know the difference if you didn't make the freight runs, would they?
But I would, Calamity.
You see, Jess takes great pride in the fact that he's never missed a freight run, sis.
I'm dead certain there's still plenty of silver in that mine. Besides, I signed a franchise, and I intend to keep my end of the bargain.
You see, Jess figures that by fulfilling his contract, he'll be in a better position to get a renewal on the franchise if and when the mine opens again.
Yeah, they're going to know that the Sundays keep their bargains. And more important, my boy's going to have a real future. See, I'm doing this mostly for him. This'll all be his Sunday.
Say, your boy's due home from college next week, ain't he?
That's right. John is going to make things different. You know, I got a feeling, Judge, that his coming home is going to change my luck.
We sure hope so, Mr. Sunday.
Haircut dismissed.
Oh, thanks, Judge.
Silver, Mr. Clemens? Silver like you never saw before. It struck a new vein. 3 times richer than the old one, too.
Yahoo! I knew it. I knew you'd do it.
Silver Hill's really going to boom again.
So's your freight line, Mr. Sunday.
Yeah, but I ain't got the franchise yet, Calamity. Maybe Mr. Clemens has got other ideas.
I don't think so, Mr. Sunday. My company knows the way you've been carrying on here. You've got a fine record.
What about my bid, Mr. Clemens?
Your bid?
We have your letter on file, Mr. Dawson, but under the circumstances, I think Mr. Sunday's entitled to a renewal.
Well, you horny toad of all the sneaking tricks trying to get my franchise away from me.
Only a business proposition, Jess. You can't blame me for trying.
No, I suppose not, but you heard what Mr. Clemens said. I guess that's the important thing.
This is going to be quite a homecoming present for Johnny Red Hawk, ain't it, Jess?
You bet it will.
Red Hawk?
Johnny Red Hawk, Mr. Clemens. Mr. Sunday's adopted son. He'll be home from college in a couple of days.
Yeah, he's going to help me run the freight line, just like I always planned.
Is that some kind of a nickname?
No, he's an Indian boy. I adopted him when he was a little bit of a Is there anything wrong with that, Mr. Clemens?
No, of course not. I just, how did you happen to adopt an Indian?
Well, I'll tell you. See, me and Johnny Red Hawk's pa were in the 7th Regiment together. He was an Indian scout for Custer, and he got killed. I was in the rear guard with General Terry, or I'd have been at the Little Horn Massacre myself. Yes, sir, Johnny Red Hawk's pa saved my life more than once. And I figured that taking care of the boy was little enough payment.
Mr. Clemens has spent most of his life back east, Jess. Probably thinking of a real storybook savage. You know, Feathers and Tommy Hawk and all.
Oh, that's not my boy, Mr. Clemens. No, sir. Johnny Red Hawk's nothing like that. Why, he's a fine young man, as smart as a whip, too.
I'm sure he is. Now, if you'll all excuse me, I'll get over to the telegraph office and notify my company of the new strike.
Yep, and I've got a lot of work cut out for myself, too. I got to get the freight office all fixed up. By Jiminy, I'm right back to business again.
Oh, Mr. Clemens.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Dawson. You understand.
I'm not sure you do, though.
What do you mean?
That boy, Just Sundays. I thought you ought to be warned.
Warned about what?
Well, there are a lot of folks around here that don't think much of Indians. I'm afraid your company will find it rather hard to get miners to work for them when they find out that there's an Indian working on the freight line.
But it seems to me he's got the same rights as anybody else.
Yes, there's no argument there, but I've got a lot of drivers working for me, and they'd quit if they had an Indian bossing them. Hard to say what kind of a reception that Indian's going to get when he gets to town.
I guess I better give it some thought. But Jess Sunday's waited so long for this day.
Well, I just want to do your company and you a favor.
Oh, yes, of course. I'll think it over.
3 days later, Bill rode out to meet his boyhood pal, Johnny Redhawk, who was due in on the stage. Not knowing, of course, that there was others who had the same idea, but not with the same friendly intentions.
Here he comes.
If this is a holdup, you fellas are out of luck. I'm not carrying a cent.
You're carrying just what we want, mister. Get out of there, Indian.
What's this all about? Just gonna learn you a lesson, Injun. Learn you to stay out of where you're not wanted.
Hurry it up. Get him tied.
You fellas got no right to do this.
Get on down, mister. You're walking the rest of the way. The team will take the rig into town. All right, get going.
All right, Johnny?
Yeah, I think so, Bill. Nothing broken anyway. After 2 years away at school, it was quite a homecoming.
Sure was. Think you can make it now?
Sure.
Let's go back and get the driver.
Yes, it was quite a homecoming. When the stage rolled into town, the frightening experience on the road was momentarily forgotten by Johnny Redhawk in the joy of seeing Jess Sunday again. Most of us couldn't believe what had happened when Bill told us, but there was no denying that it had, and nobody could figure out why. Jess Sunday thought when Redhawk got back from school, his troubles would be over, but we soon found out they were just beginning.
A thing like this can build up, Judge Wiley. Prejudice can lead to a lot of trouble.
Well, we have laws to handle any trouble that comes along, Clemens. You have no cause to worry.
Well, I'm not so sure. Mr. Dawson warned me something like this might happen.
Dawson? You suppose he's behind this?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me.
But he wouldn't be responsible for an attack on his own stage.
Oh, don't be so sure. Dawson wants that franchise pretty badly.
And I'd be inclined to give it to him if there's any more trouble.
Well, any trouble that's happened sure wasn't Redhawk's, nor Jess's.
I realize that, Judge. But what I want is the assurance that it won't happen again.
If any trouble starts, Johnny Redhawk won't start it.
Please understand, I have nothing against the boy personally. But my company's interests come first. And we have a large investment at stake. And if Johnny Redhawk is going to jeopardize that investment, I just can't take a chance.
I guess nobody could blame you for that, mister.
I'm sorry, young man. I didn't know you were there.
Doesn't matter, really. I heard it elsewhere soon enough.
Oh, Johnny, this is Mr. Clemens. He's in charge of the Silvio mine.
How do you do?
How do you do, sir? Sounds like I'm causing a lot of trouble around here.
Oh, no, Johnny, it's not you, but someone sure wants to pin it on you. Mr. Clemens is just afraid that if he gives you and Jess the franchise, that it might bring on a lot of trouble.
I was only expressing a doubt, Mr. Red Hawk, but my company can't afford this kind of trouble.
I hope you will have no more, Mr. Clemens.
Yes, so do I. Now, if you'll excuse me.
I'm sorry, Johnny.
Oh, forget it, Bill. They told me at school the outside world would be a tough nut to crack. Forgot what I came in here for. Oh, Judge, have you got any paint?
Oh, sure, Johnny. All kinds.
We're going to give the freight office a new coat, and Calamity's already offered her services.
Oh, well, count me in too, Johnny. And if we play our cards right, Judge just might give us the paint for free.
All right. All right.
I'm about finished. How does it look?
Oh, looks fine, Calamity. Real professional.
Thanks.
I wonder if professionals get that much paint on their faces.
No comments from downstairs, please, or this can of paint's liable to slip.
Beginning to look like a new place, isn't it, Dad?
Yeah, since you came home, son, everything looks like new.
Gee, I'm a lucky guy to have you and good friends like Bill and Calamity.
Don't forget where you got that free paint now, Red Hawk.
Of course not, Judge. You've always been one of our best friends.
Come on, let's get back to work.
Calamity, could you get a little more on the Y, please?
You hear that, Phil? He even knows the alphabet.
Yeah, what do you know? An educated Indian.
Educated or not, I still say Redskins belong in the hills.
Listen, you loudmouth, you hightail it out of here, I'll chase you into the hills.
Now, you wouldn't turn on your own kind, would you, Jess?
Johnny Red Hawk's more my kind than the likes of you could ever be. Go on, get away from here.
We kind of like it here.
Hold on, Johnny. Let me handle this.
You needn't get involved, Bill. This is my trouble.
I know, but you get in a scrape, then Jess will be involved. Now, look, I guess I didn't make myself clear the other day.
I've got business with your Indian friend, kid. Get out of my way.
Nice going, Bill. I think there's enough left for him.
Thanks, Bill.
It was a real pleasure, Johnny.
Like I told you, Mr. Clemens, trouble's going to follow wherever that Indian goes.
Seems to me like the law took good care of things, Mr. Dawson.
That's nothing compared to what'll happen if you give your franchise to an Indian.
You probably mean well, and I may be letting myself in for a lot of headaches. But I've thought this over, and I've decided to give Jess Sunday and his son the franchise.
All right. But you're making a big mistake.
Perhaps. Good day, Mr. Dawson.
So if it's real trouble Clemens is asking for, we're going to give it to him. I want that franchise.
Why don't we rough him up? He don't look like the type that could take much.
Because bruises wear off, Frank. We're going to hit him where it hurts, right in the company pocketbook.
What do you mean?
I mean, we're going to show him in dollars and cents that he can't afford to do business with Red Hawk and Jess.
Sure. All we got to do is blow up the mine.
Frank, I ought to raise your pay for being a mind reader. right, boys. Get going.
Say, what is this?
A lesson, mister, one you better learn.
What are you talking about?
About you giving a franchise to a redskin. We don't like it. And there's lots of others that don't either.
So you're trying to intimidate me?
We're not trying. We're doing it.
What are you going to do?
Just watch, mister. Maybe you'll know we mean business. That's just a sample of what'll happen if you give that franchise to Red Hawk.
How is he?
Oh, he'll be all right.
How'd you two know what those fellows were up to?
We didn't, Mr. Clemens. We just rode out here because Johnny Red Hawk wanted to talk to you.
I decided to tell you if my being an Indian would hurt your company's chances, well, I'd step out of the picture so Jess wouldn't lose his franchise.
You just forget about it. My mind wasn't made up before, but it sure is now.
Better get him in the cabin.
Yeah, come on.
And so, with Dawson and his men in jail, Jess Sunday was able to realize his longed-for ambition and proudly witnessed Johnny Redhawk sign his name to the new franchise contract.
Well, I guess that does it, Mr. Clemens.
Yes, sir. We're in business for sure, son. Thanks to young Billy here and the judge.
Hey, I got it finished. Come look. Doesn't it look swell?
It couldn't look a mite better, could it, son?
I did a good job, if I do say so myself. But it needs a period.
Calamity, look out! Now I know why the judge called you Calamity.
Buffalo Bill Jr. Now with his horse and with his gun, he's not afraid of anyone, 'cause no one's quicker on the draw or quicker to defend the law. Buffalo Bill Jr., Buffalo Bill Jr. He's the son of a gun. Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill Jr.
I really do hope you enjoyed this episode of the Buffalo Bill Jr. Western Television Show, brought to you here on the internet by Wild West Toys. And you can shop with Wild West Toys online at www.toyguntown.com.
We enjoyed you in the play last night, by the way. You play a very good sheriff.
Yeah. It was fun until everybody started having their party.